how is our class if you slice it by position group? Any groups stand out bad or good? What do y'all think? Position groups stand out good or bad?
I don't think there's any that I'd say are bad. I just think there's a couple where you'd like some more numbers. You'd obviously liked I think maybe another 2 offensive linemen. Definitely would have liked to have had another interior defensive lineman or 2. I just don't. There's nothing on here that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a terrible group. But just from a number standpoint, I don't know where you're at, CJ, but that's my take.
No, I think you're dead on right there. I tell you, the position that I'm perhaps the most excited about is the linebacking spot. Obviously I've spoken at length about Tyler Atkinson and how excited I am for him. But look, Kosio Kapala, you get him in that Brad Spence or Trey Moore role with his ability to rush the passer, the length of his arms, and kind of that innate ability to play off the edge. I love that. Rocky Cummings, look, is he a guy that sticks at the linebacker spot or spins down? He's big, 6'4", 220. How big does he end up getting altogether? I think you have a lot of versatility there. And, you hear position versatility and position flex pretty often around this time of the year. But for those 3, I think you nail it with the 3 guys that you bring in, the 3 guys that you sign. That's a position for me that I'm really excited about. And that I'll save DB for anybody else because that's another one I'm really high on as well.
I'm big on the running back group, guys. I love Derek Cooper now. I ever since I first saw him, actually, and Gerry went down there and he sent me back some film of his practice, I was all in. There's a reason why. He's a tough guy, runs hard, fast, even though he's big, and then makes people miss a little bit just with some subtle moves. So I would go running back. What about you, Gerry? What position you like, et cetera?
I think you'd like one more in it, but I think D-line class is really good with the 3 guys they have. 1 edge on the 2 on the interior. I think Richard Wesley could be – he has first-round pick ability long-term if he's healthy, gets lucky with the health. You always have to get lucky with the health, and he keeps developing. I think he's the 3-down player with pass rush ability, with run stuff ability. I think Richard Wesley has a chance to be really good. I like the disruptive ability of James Johnson and Jamarian Carlton. Carlton's a little more – those guys are down the line. Just think about how good – Justice Terry and talented Josiah Sharma and Charles are. It still takes time. So a little more down the line. I think Wesley will play next year. James Johnson, Carlton, Carlton has the length, and he will be an interior guy. He's 280 pounds now. He'll probably be 300 pounds or right around there by August. So I like the length and disruptive ability. Texas does need pass rush on the interior. So you got to have a number of those guys. They're those type of prospects to end up hitting on one that could be a difference maker pass rusher. And I like that. I wish they had one more guy in the D-line class, maybe a pass rusher at edge opposite Wesley in this class, maybe one more D lineman who may be more of a run stuffer in this class. I was a real big fan of Vodney Cleveland. Totally get North Carolina went big and changed that kid's life, and give him kudos for having that ability nowadays. I thought Vodney Cleveland was a really, really good player. I think one more player, but the 3 guys they got on D-line, I think it goes really well with last year's class.
Jeff, what about you, man?
I'm backing you up, Bobby, on running back for 2 reasons. One, that's still the position where a guy can come in and play early. It tends to translate quicker. And 2, I just think when you look at the size of Derek Cooper and Jet Walker, I think this is Sark saying, we're going to get this running game going. I got to have big physical backs that can be violent downhill runners. And I think both of those guys fit that bill. You got to have guys, we'll see what happens with the offensive line situation in the portal, because that's where they're going to have to fix it. But I think even if you feel like you're good with your interior line, you got to have guys that can maximize runs. That's what Texas had. That's what Jonathan Brooks did. That's what Bijan Robinson did. Look at the great backs Texas has had. That's what they've all done. They've been able to maximize runs when it's not there. Can you still get yards? Can you move the pile? Can you be a guy that 3rd and 2, everybody knows you're getting the rock, you can still get the first down? That's the kind of guy Texas needs. I think Derek Cooper's got a really good chance to be that guy.
Is Kosio Kapala considered an underdog? Is Jamarian Carlton? Probably not. I'll tell y'all who I'll go with. I'll go with Rocky Cummings.
Oh, I like that.
That's a true underdog. That's who I would go with right
Caden.
I'm Cohen Brown.
Oh, you.
Yeah, we can have the same one. We can have the same one. I think that guy exudes winner.
Yeah.
I think he exudes winner. I think he's tough as nails. I think he is super strong at the wide receiver. By the way, spoke with somebody today. He is considered a wide receiver for Texas. I think there's been some people saying safety. He's considered a wide receiver. But I'm a big Cohen Brown fan. I know CJ is too. So I'll stop talking about Cohen Brown so CJ can get to his point on Cohen Brown. But we picked the same guy, I think, for a reason.
No, yeah. Very hardworking kid. I've said this story a number of times since he committed, but that staff at Waxahachie has to tell him pretty often to go home. Stop overworking yourself. Stop getting yourself to the point of exhaustion. And, of course, I think the measurables in the tape line up. Since you took that pick, Jeff, I'm cutting the line here. I'm going to go defensive back, but I'm going to leave, I think, the one for you. I like Teray Davis a lot. And I know, I think we kind of fell victim a little bit last year to Grayson Littleton joining the class so late that maybe his hype and – kind of the excitement around that commitment didn't arise to the level that a number of other commitments, kind of ended up being. And then you hear the reports, you're like, well, this guy kind of came out of nowhere. I think Teray Davis, having watched some of the tape, having done some research on him over the last week, there's just something excites me about a guy that plays second in the secondary that just consistently makes plays on the football. That's a guy for me that I'm a big fan of. There you go, Josh.
No, I mentioned earlier, Yaheem Riley's my candidate to be a guy that outplays his ranking. But as far as an underdog, a guy that I'm going to root for, not just because he shares an O-line room at Georgetown with my nephew, but Caden Scherer is my guy because nobody is thrilled with his O-line class because guys flip whatever. A potential swing offensive lineman that you flip from Stanford is not sexy, but I just think he's a really intelligent kid. I think he's athletic. I think he's got a chance to be eventually at some point be a starter at Texas. So I'll be rooting for Caden Scherer. And CJ, I haven't talked to you since then. Gerry, you, myself, Rod, we had Charlie Gillick on the show this afternoon. I root for that kid.
He's got personality. He's got personality and self-confidence. He's he was a fun guy to talk to for sure. If he adds that frame and maxes that frame out, I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. I should have let CJ have Cohen Brown. I think Bukowskis may end up being an All-American level punter.
Wow. Hey, let me ask y'all this. Of the top-ranked recruits, who's not being talked about enough? So a little
James
bit.
Johnson.
Bell because he's injured. Because he didn't have a chance to have a
Bell. Jeff, who do you got?
I mean, we talked about him a lot, but look, when you get a guy like Richard Wesley, you either got to have you got to go premium on quarterbacks, guys that can protect the quarterback, and guys that can get after the quarterback. That's where I just a guy with his upside. As young as he is, and as far along as he is in his development, Gerry, I don't know where that kid's ceiling is. Like it's scary.
Yeah. Now, Richard Wesley could be a first-round pick after watching him work out if he does it right. You got to stay healthy. All these guys have to stay healthy, but he's got a chance. And yes, Richard Wesley is only 16. He reclassed from 27 to 26. Hayward Howard's not 7, maybe just turned 17.
Yep.
So there's a couple of really young kids in this class. Yeah, Richard Wesley is still 16 because he reclassed from 27 to 26, so he ain't even close physically to where he's going.
Yeah, I'll go just real quick. James Johnson, I'm a big fan. I think with where he kind of fell in the sense of his commitment coming right around the same time as Tyler Atkinson, you sit there and you say, all right, number one player in Georgia, number one linebacker gets all the hype, but that's a big flip from Georgia. Not to mention, we talk about it every now and then, Gerry, when it comes to wide receivers or skill position guys coming out of Florida or coming out of that Miami area. I'm excited to see what his body ends up looking like after an off season or two, because he's an explosive guy. I think he throws 58 feet in the shot. So
yeah,
that's exciting for me.